a joy that you have found us for this podcast. How exciting it is to think that this spiritual message is going out to people around this planet. Whether your life is working at a peak level or whether it can use some enhancement, have I got the message for you today. So get a piece of paper, get ready to take notes, call a friend, have them watch this podcast also. Then you too can have something to talk about and take it to a deeper level. So enjoy. Here we go. Good morning, Seaside. All right, what a joy it is to be with you on this fabulous day. It's summer out, and we're going to go out on the patio afterwards. But right now, it is about feeling that wonderful presence in our life, being mindful of the presence that is fully present. And so this morning's message is Timeless Truths for Transformation, is what I've been talking about all year, and this year it's mindfulness. Now, mindfulness has been practiced by the spiritual elders from the earliest indigenous people that walked this planet. There's nothing new about mindfulness. It has always been around. But it is about the 60s and the 70s when the Eastern philosophies became popular here in the U.S. that people began to really become aware of mindfulness and the teachings that came through the Buddhist philosophy. And people began to practice it, really chasing that spiritual high. It's like, wow, this is good. And if you could find the perfect guru that gets you in the perfect place. But what eventually happens is that you have to come down from that place also. The spiritual high you still have to come down from. And people began to realize that it's not about extrapolating yourself from your daily life and living in some exalted, light-filled plane of being, but rather it is about the integration into our life of this spiritual principle. And that's what mindfulness will do. It's as we begin to practice that presence in our life, as we begin to practice being aware of spirit and the good and what's happening, that we begin to walk with a greater conscious sense that I'm walking on this earth. It is a practice, it is a discipline. It's not like a grim duty, but rather it is something that you have got to work on and be patient with. And some of the Eastern teachers don't like the word patient because patience means or sounds to them, particularly the sushi roshi, that you're waiting for something. You're waiting for something to come. And so he likes the word constancy better. It is that constant awareness. It is that constant mindfulness. It is that constant awareness of that present from moment to moment to moment to moment. Thich Nhat Hanh, who Tammy read from today, talks about being mindful in some of his books and some of his teachings. And he shares a story about when he used to be the dishwasher at the monastery. And they had a new guy come in. And so he was going to take over the dishwashing responsibilities. And Thich Nhat Hanh said to Jimmy that, now, there's two ways to wash dishes. You can wash dishes to get it done so you can move on to do what you have to do next. Or you can wash dishes to wash dishes. He said, I'll take the second one. You see, there's a profound difference between just getting a task done and being mindful about what it is you're doing. And I am washing dishes, and that is what I'm doing. I am present in this moment. I am washing dishes. Brother Lawrence was known for finding his mystical realm and experience through washing dishes. Thich Nhat Hanh says mindfulness is being able to be aware of every moment that you have going on in your life. You should tape above your bed, he says, when you wake up, or on the ceiling, the word mindful. So when you open your eyes, say, I am mindful that I'm waking up. And then I am mindful that I'm stepping out of the bed. I am mindful that I'm walking on the ground. I am mindful of, and on it goes. Seems pretty heavy duty to me, but that is about being fully present. Because if you're not present in the moment, you're missing out on your life. Yeah, I mean, you think about that. If you are not present in the moment, you are missing out on your life. That's the way it goes. So what you got to do is unload the stuff you're carrying so you can be present. I had a tailor once tell me that, Christian, you want your suits to keep, you want them to hold their shape, make sure that when you take your coat off at night that you take everything out of the pockets so it holds its shape. If you leave things in the pockets, they will bend it, it will make it go out of shape, it will distort it, and it won't last as long. And I couldn't help but to think, oh my goodness, that sounds pretty spiritual. What I've got to do is empty the junk out of my mind at night. Before I hang up my coat or I hang up my consciousness for the night, I've got to dump out the stuff that is in there. So I can wake up in the morning, good to go, gassed, and off I go. How many of us are not mindful enough to realize that we picked up some stuff that we put in the pockets of consciousness through the course of our day. That's why it's valuable every day to be mindful. What did I pick up? What got thrown my way? Tom Costa, wonderful minister of religious science, was out in Palm Desert for a long time, or in Palm Springs. He tells the story about one day he was driving downtown Palm Springs, and he saw this beautiful, gorgeous, white silver cloud Rolls Royce on the side of the road with a lady on the outside, something gone wrong with the car, and he thought it was someone from his congregation, so he pulled on over, and as he started to pull over, he realized she wasn't from his congregation. But now he was in this help the helpless mentality, so he pulled over anyway. And, he walked up to her and said, and so what's wrong? And she said, well, I'm out of gas. He said, out of gas? A Rolls Royce is out of gas? I can't even imagine such a thing. But have you ever stopped to think, have you ever actually seen a Rolls Royce in a gas station when you were at the pump? I stopped to think about it. I don't think I have, actually. But anyway, what he got out of that, here is this beautiful, elegant, handcrafted, hand tool, leather, silky, chrome sparkling in the desert, $100,000 English car, out of gas. And how in our life do we allow ourselves to get out of gas? How do we allow ourselves to get depleted and we don't go back to the pump? We don't become mindful and recharge and re-energize and revitalize and go back to spirit and have that flow through us. That we forget that we've been given this body. Think of Rolls Royce is nice. Imagine this body you got. That beats a Rolls Royce any days. God knew what it was doing when it crafted your physical specimen. He didn't stick the nose on your elbow. He didn't put the eye on your hip. He knew what he was doing. At least I can do is take care of it and recharge it when I need to. And I do that through mindfulness. I do that by becoming aware every moment that there's life, that there's spirit. There's something moving in this moment. The spirit, great song we sang. Something's moving. I've still got that going on. It was great. And when it's not working, what I've noticed is that when I'm out of gas, I'm the one who forgot to fill up my car. What I've noticed, profound research here, but whenever there's anything going wrong in my life, I'm like always there. When I have really made a blunder, what I've noticed is I'm the one who is always present. And just sometimes you need to do a checkup from the neck up so you can get yourself back in tune with spirit in your life. Now, a wonderful writer, Buddhist Teachings, Jack Kornfield, great book. Bringing the Dharma Home is his latest one I've been reading. But he recounts in this book one of his first ones from the early 70s. And he was steeped in Buddhist trainings. He spent years, probably decades, in Burma, Thailand, India. And he studied with some of the great meditation masters that have their own system. And he took 12 of the most highly respected Buddha teachers who have their systems of meditation. And he said there's probably 50 or 100 out there, but he took 12. And what his book was about, was the Buddhist masters, is that their style of being mindful, which is really of vipassana meditation, some of them were diametrically different than the other one. Where one would be saying, the way to become mindful is to be mindful of your body, your breath, follow your body, work within your body. And the other one would say, it's not your body. What you would do is you become mindful of your mind, of your thoughts, of your thinking. In other words, they become mindful of your emotions. And they were so different. And what he got, or what he shared, is that all of those paths are correct. If they lead you to being recharged, regassed, if they allow you to feel the compassion and love that assists you to being present from moment to moment in your life, to being mindful as you walk through this world, as you begin to evolve and to develop, like the fruit on my fruit tree. Right now, they're still green and hard, but if I leave them alone, they will naturally ripen, become sweet, and fall off the branches. As I continue to work within my own heart, and I begin to do my mindful practices and my meditation, what begins to happen is naturally it begins to mature, it begins to ripen, it begins to be sweet. And I begin to walk in my life more conscious and aware. And when you are, you're more integrity with who you are. Even when other people are telling you to do it differently. I love this story about Picasso. When one of the guys said, "Hey, Picasso," probably, "Hey, Pablo," they said, "You really should be painting things that look more realistic." Do you imagine telling Picasso? And so Picasso, being kind, I guess, and said, "What do you mean?" And the guy took out of his wallet a picture of his wife and said, "Here, look at this." And he said, "Boy, she sure is small and flat, isn't she?" And it's like, what is realistic for you? What is it you see? Can you be in alignment that you know inside of who you are so correctly and so rightly that you are able to bring forth that which you are here in this world? Even when it looks different than what's going on, that you are mindful enough to know what's inside of you.